Start. Start.
Okay. So, good morning, good evening, everyone. My name is Swapnil TIGHARE. Currently, I am pursuing my BTech from Yeshwantrao Chavan College of Engineering, and I am an intern in a Projexel Foundation. Uh, in this webinar, I am sharing my experience and some points regarding the education system, right? And which skill matters in the education. That's also I'm sharing in this webinar. And mostly how you get a good job or how you start your own business. Like what means I'm talking about the skills that can help you to become successful, right? So I'm sharing my screen. Okay, ma'am, please pin my screen, slide screen. Right. So first of all, we talk about the types of skills, right? Everyone know there are different kind of skills in the market in this scenario, but there are mainly two types of skills, right? In the Harvard University, we can conducted one survey on this skill too. So first of all, we're talking about the skill. What are the two main types of skill? There are two main types of skill. That is what first is hard skill, and second is soft skill, right? So hard skill is what that college teaches us, right? If you're talking about the technical knowledge, that comes in the hard skill. If you're talking about the certificates, right, that comes in what? Comes in hard skill, right? If you're talking about the degree, that comes in hard skill, right? So there are different hard skill, right? That college teaches us, right? But if you're talking about the soft skill, that skill which college cannot teach us, right? Because college cannot teach us the leadership skill, college cannot teach us the communication, college cannot teach us the time management, right? That all skills we have to learn from outside from the college. Because if you see, right, there is one of the IIT. What is its long form? Indian Institute for Technology, right? Means what is IIT teaching? IIT teaching that technical knowledge. They are not teaching soft skill, right? So soft skill is that help you to grow in life, right? And that cannot be taught by any college, right? If we're talking about the soft skill, so what are the skills that inside the soft skill? Like your communication skill, leadership skill, right? Your time management, your negotiation skills, your selling skill, right? So that's all skills comes in the soft skill. Even big universities cannot teach this kind of skills, right? So first of all, we talk about the hard skill. Hard skill is that skill that can everyone can learn, right? If you read a book, you can learn the hard skill, right? And these are the skills that can easily learn by anyone. So these skills can be easily learned by anyone. So that's our hard skill, right? And that skill also teaches in our colleges, right? You can learn these skills through mobile also from YouTube. There are different platforms so that you can learn the hard skill. But if we're talking about the soft skill, the soft skill is that skill that college cannot teach us, like leadership skill, right? Because you cannot get a team to work with in college, right? So this kind of skill cannot teach us by any college, right? Because college cannot teach this kind of skill because college don't have that kind of time to. Because our college is of 8 hours, right? And in 8 hours we have a different subjects, right? And in the first year of my engineering college, I have a one subject that is about communication skill. I am literally telling I am not even learn anything about the communication in that subject. Just I read, give examination, score good marks. That's all about the college, right? Because college cannot teach you soft skill, right? So second thing is also leadership skill, your communication skill, how to talk with people, right? Because once where I read about the thing that कि क्या हम बचपन से सीख जाते हैं कि ये बोला कैसे जाता है, राइट? बट क्या बोलना है ये सीखने के लिए हमको बहुत ज्यादा समय लगता है, राइट? पूरी जिंदगी चली जाती है. Yes or no? So soft skill is that cannot be taught by any colleges. That we have to learn from outside, right? That we have to work on ourselves, right? And we cannot learn soft skill by reading books. I'm giving you one example, right? Don't worry. There is one example like if you want to swim, you have to learn the skill of swimming, right? You have to learn the skill of swimming. So what you do? I give you 4 to 5 books today, and you read all the books, and you directly jump to the sea. What's happened? You will be not come back, right? You will be dead. Because why? Because such kind of skill cannot be learned by books. They are learned by practically, right? And our education system can't allow us to learn that skill in the college, right? So that we have to learn from outside, like Projexel Foundation. With such kinds of internship you can get, and you can learn such kind of skill. You have to talk with different people. Today, what I'm doing, I'm enhancing my presentation skill with you, right? Because presentation skills cannot be learned by reading books. It is learned by what? Doing a presentation, giving a presentation that I'm today giving to you, right? So in that way, soft skill can be learned, right? And there is one survey you can see on the screen, you can see on the slide that there is one survey conducted by Harvard University, right? In this survey, they basically conducted a survey on student, what they can get, how they become successful, right? So this survey suggested that there is a shocking news, right? Shocking news that 85% success, 85% job success comes from your soft skill, and only 15% job success comes from your technical skill. So you think that, and what you are doing, we are investing money on what? In technical skill. We are going to engineering, we are going to different field, right? We are going to different fields. But what we are doing, we are learning hard skill. But this survey says that 85% job success are your life success, right? 85% of job success or life success comes from your soft skills, right? So it's very necessary to learn the soft skills. And I'm totally sure that if you have a good soft skill now, then you never become unsuccessful in life. You totally become successful, because these are the skills everyone want, every company want, right? So this is the one of the survey. You can take a screenshot of this also, and you can search on Google too also, right? This is not by me. This is by Harvard University. This is world's top 10 university, right? And these are the some newses you always go through, right? Yes or no? You always go through such kind of newses, right? Engineer applied for peon job. Engineer applied for railway job. There are vacancy of 2 lakh and apply 2 crore people, right? Such kind of things happen in India. Do you know because why? Because in India people have hard skill but don't have soft skill, right? People are focusing on just degree. They are not learning any kind of skills, right? That is the main issue in our country, right? To overcome such kind of issue, you have to learn such kind of skills. You have to invest money on that. Nowadays, I learned one thing. Generation Z, right? Generation Z is very interesting. They are focusing on investing on stock market and other things, but they are not investing on themselves, right? But I'm telling you from my experience, if you are investing on yourself now, then the returns is always better than that kind of stock market or any kind of things, right? So these things I learned from my life too, right? And this slide says that if you have to grow in life, you have to want, if you want good job, if you want good package, if you want to start a good business, then you must need a soft skills, right? Degree is not efficient, right? Degree is just a piece of paper if you don't have a soft skill, right? So this is the one thing you have to understand. And if I'm talking about the soft skill that I already told you, there are different skill comes in soft skill, like your communication skill, right? How you learn communication skill? By reading books, by watching YouTube videos, right? Or by scrolling the reels? Of course not. Not at all. You are learning such kind of skill by doing that kind of things. You have to talk with people, right? You have to understand them, right? One thing is there, you can read the book and understand from them and then implement also. That is the one of the thing you can do, right? But if you are to learn such kind of skill, then you have to go practical. You have to talk with people. You have to talk with that kind of people, right? If you talk with your friends, right? What are the things going on with your friends? You know, right? So I'm not talking about that thing, but if you have to improve your soft communication skill too, so you can, what you can do, you can talk with people, you can learn such kind of internship, you can get exposure to different fields also, right? If you're talking about the management skill, right? How you learn management, right? People say that I'm managing my time. Time cannot be manageable. Like time is not be manageable. You can set your priorities. That kind of things you can learn through such internship too, and through your life too, right? So such kind of things you can get from here. Also, Projexel Foundation can teach you that kind of also thing, how to manage, because you are doing your college too and also internship, right? And that combination makes you a well prepared management skills student, right? So you can say also this in your interview too. "Ki, I manage those kind of things while doing college, right? I get a good score and also doing the internship, right? So such kind of things can be you do, right? So management skill can be taught practically if you do such kind of internship too, right? Then team player, right? If you have to manage team, so how you make a team, right? So you have to make a team. You can work with team, right? Like in many internships you can work with team too, right? So this kind of skill you have to learn practically, right? So there are different skills like team player, then leadership, then communication, then negotiation, right? Negotiation is one of the important skills. And I'm telling you, if you are good in negotiation and selling, right, then you never become unsuccessful in life. Because if you sell yourself, right, then anyone can buy you, right? Big companies too. Means you have to sell yourself, you have to sell your knowledge, you have to sell your skills, and big company can pay for it, pay for that to you, right? That's all the importance of soft skill, right? And if talking about the future of soft skill and hard skill, so you can see in the slide that soft skills, right? Soft skills have, yeah, soft skill cannot be learned by any robot, right? Because these are the practical skills. Robot cannot judge your emotion, right? Hard skill is what? Hard skill can be in future, can be gained by robots, right? AI can transfer all the jobs that are repeated, right? And you are seeing the same scenario in big companies like Apple, Facebook, right? They are firing more than 11,000 people, 11,000 people from their companies, right? Why is this happening? Because people have only hard skill, right? They don't have a soft skill, right? If you're talking about the in present, right? In present, the importance of skill, right? The personal interview is also important, right? If you want to job, then personal interview is important. Technical knowledge is okay, but if you don't have a soft skill, then you cannot crack that kind of job, right? That is also thing. And today's scenario, you can see that there are many startup, right? They are working on what? They are working on such kind of skill too, right? Because these are the skills. Soft skills cannot be learned by a robot, right? And one thing also there, right? There are different kinds of job, right? That can be occurred by different AI models like robots. You can see about the Amazon. If you see the warehouse of Amazon in the America, you will be shocked. There will be no man. There will be no human beings. There are only robots working. You place the order, there will be robots gone there, pick the product and dispatch it to your location, right? There will be no more interference of human beings. Means what? Your job is gone, right? So if you don't want your job will be gone, so you have to learn this kind of skill, right? The future is going to be to the soft skill, right? Like people skill, management skill, leadership skill, right? And if you have to survive in this nation or in this world, then you have to read, you have to understand, you have to learn such kind of skill too, right? And in India, unemployment increases because the survey says that 85% of the Indians don't have a skill; they just have a degree, right? So these are the things regarding the skills, right? And there will be one kind of education system that I applied in my life, and I learned many kind of skills. Like that is what learn, do, and teach, right? Means if you have to learn any skill now, then what you have to do? You have to first of all read things, you have to understand them, you have to do personally. If you don't do, then just that things come in your mind and go out, right? So what's happened? So you have to do learning, then you have to do the same things, and then you can teach to the people, right? That is one thing I implemented in my life, and I am now good in communication too, right? My English is weak, I know, but in future it will be improved because I am learning every day, right? So that's all from my side, right? That's all from my side. And I am inviting, right? I am inviting the today's guest speaker for the for his kind words. So help me invite one and only Mr. Mosima ma'am.
Am I audible and visible? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. A very good evening to all the viewers who are watching this. And here I am to talk about education, present day education. That is how to educate the children, and also the skills that already you have said about the hard skill, soft skill. Then also I would like to touch upon these points like employability skills and how the present education system is going to help the students to get jobs, employment, which is the need of the hour. Because at the end of the day, we say that we should get such kind of education which will give us job. That is what we want, because it is seen that the present day education is simply a kind of education which we are trying to get in jobs. Now, before we talk, I talk about this, let me give you the perspective of education, or what we mean by education. That is very important for us to know. Now, education can be, defined or understood in two ways, that is, in the broad sense and in the narrow sense. In narrow sense, what we mean by education is that it is a process of acquiring knowledge, skills, values, and also attitudes through formal schooling, such as primary school, that we say, secondary, and tertiary education. What is tertiary education? That is our colleges and universities. So, this education is a means of preparing the individuals for the workforce and equipping them with the knowledge and skills necessary for success in their careers. That is the narrow sense of education. What is the broad sense of education? Which encompasses a wider range of learning experiences beyond formal schooling. That means we can gain experience from our hobbies, from reading, or we can say traveling, social interaction, from everyday life. So, in that sense, we can say that both narrow and broad meaning of education are equally important and they complement each other. Formal schooling provides us with necessary knowledge and skills so that we can succeed in our careers, but informal learning will help us to foster our personal growth, creativity, and lifelong love for learning. So, this is what we mean by education. But when I talk about education, one quote which always fascinates me, and I would like to quote that, which is said by Malcolm X, and I quote, "Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today." So, here what does he want to say? That education is a critical tool for us for achieving success in the future, and those who invest in education today will certainly be well prepared for the challenges and opportunities for tomorrow. So, when one prepares oneself for the future, they are better equipped through education and they can keep a positive impact on the world. So, this quote emphasizes the very importance of taking action in the present day so that we can invest that in future. So, having said that, let me talk about practical education. That was one of the topic which we wanted to say or discuss. What is practical education? Practical education is that education that we gain in our from our everyday life. We learn from our experiences, which we can say a hands-on learning that we get. That is practical education. And how to educate the students? This practical education, that is also equally important. Now, there are various strategies that we adopt to educate the children, this practical education. We can develop a strong curriculum, the curriculum which could be designed with proper learning objectives that would prepare the students for future. That is very important. And we also use various teaching methodologies. Not only that, the most important thing that I want everyone to note is that we encourage critical thinking. When we educate the children, we should always encourage them to develop that critical thinking so that they can put questions, they can analyze, they can evaluate all the information that they get in the class and outside as well, because that will give them a deeper understanding of the subject matter. Another very important way to teach the students is that technology. Present day, the need of the hour is technology. We cannot stick to that conventional method of teaching using chalk and talk. So, chalk and talk, that policy is totally aborted now. We have to use technology because the present generation is very much into techno driven. So we have to use that technology to educate them. And another important way is that to provide feedback. The feedback should be very constructive so that the students can improve their understanding and performance. Apart from that, we should teach them another very important way of educating the students is that teamwork, how they should work together, how they should collaborate with each other. For that, we give them group activities where the children, they work in groups, they perform, they deliver, and that way they also develop various skills like communication skills, leadership skills, and most importantly, problem solving skills. On top of that, the another very important point that I would like to add here is that we should teach the students how to connect their learning to real life experiences. The present day education policy which has come up, it talks about hands on experience or experiential learning. Whatever is there in the book, we should not limit the children to the book alone. Rather, we should take the children out of the book and allow them to think out of the box. So that is very important for the students to know. Now, here also I would like to quote Gandhiji. What he said about knowledge and practical education is that he said that, I quote, that knowledge gained through experience is far more superior and many times more useful than bookish knowledge, unquote. So that's what I was telling you, like, that we have to take the students out of the book. Whatever information is there in the book, that is not adequate in the present scenario, because we have to give them something extra which is beyond the book. Say, for example, I'm teaching the students a topic on election. What is there in election? What the various processes, how to conduct election, everything is given in the book. But how to give the children that experiential learning, that we can give only by conducting election in the class, and obviously giving the students the knowledge, the elections which at that moment was going on in the country, or refer to the election, the scenario that took place a year ago, and giving them in details right from election results and the political parties participating, showing them documentaries on it, showing them videos on that, how education, I mean election was done. So that way we can educate the students. Coming to practical education, okay, that already I think you have already mentioned about it, that which emphasizes, it's a form of education which emphasizes the development of practical skills and knowledge through hands-on learning experiences. Now, why this is so important, why we are talking about practical education, and why we are so very interested in giving this practical education, it's really a question to ponder upon. Because at present, what we say that practical education is very very important, because if we do not, if you do not allow the children to gain that practical knowledge, then it would be very difficult for them to survive in this world. So practical knowledge is very very important, because through that knowledge, practical knowledge, actually students, they can increase their employability. like when we deliver the knowledge, we help the children to go for hands-on learning that will prepare the children for their workplace in future, because that will provide them the skill, that will provide them the knowledge which are very much in demand in the job market, and that will certainly increase their employability. On again, I would like to say that that would also reduce the skill gaps that the students are having, because when the students, they are educated, they are given that skill, and they're given that knowledge, so they can pursue their career goals with that, and they can decide which career they are going to take up. And here, that will also encourage the students to become entrepreneur, because entrepreneurship skill is also developed. They can come up with their own business, as he has already mentioned, regarding your business. They can come up with startup business on their own. And it has been found that no many of the students in the present day, we have seen, they are very much interested in their own ventures, like for business or startup, whatever it is. So that is why we talk about practical education. Now, as our student Tighari has already mentioned about hard skill and soft skill, I'm not talking much on that, because you have got some idea about hard skills and soft skill. I would rather talk about 21st century skills, which are very, very important in the present day world. So what is that 21st century skills that we need to develop among the students, and what are these 21st century skills? You see, 21st century skills are actually a set of abilities that are essential for success in the modern world, particularly in the context of the digital age. And the skills can be categorized into various areas. Like one skill here, we can mention learning and innovation skill, and which includes critical thinking, which includes creativity, which includes communication skill, collaboration, collaborative skill, how to remain within the group, how to work together, how to take the help of the colleagues, and then how to take the help of the uh, in the school with their friends, and how to come up with their group project or group activity. So that is the need of the hour, that you know how to collaborate with each other, because as data said that 85% of our country, I mean the students, they are lacking this kind of skills, and they are not having that soft skill, which is very, very important. And soft skill comes under this 21st century skill also. And as I told you, like, it is the digital world, so digital literacy is also very, very important. That digital literacy skills are very important. They know how to learn technology, and every day something new or the other is coming up. All these days we are very much into Google, right? As a browser we use to find anything, to know anything. Nowadays, Chat GPT is there, which also is very handy. So every now and then something new or the other is coming up. So students should be very well acquainted with technology. Use of technology should be done in a very effective manner and in a very responsible manner, by using computers, internet, and social media cannot be again ignored, because in the present day world, social media has become the most important platform, not only to exchange views and ideas, but also to carry out business. You can do everything in social media nowadays. So they should know how to use social media in a very judicious manner. That should be taught to the students, because you cannot keep the students away from this like social media platforms. So these are very important skills. And then life and career skills, when we teach the students in the class, it's very difficult. I mean, I would say that we hardly get time to teach the student life skill, because we are running after, completion of our course, completion of our syllabus. So how much time can we spend for the students to develop that life skill or career skill, like taking leadership skill, dealing with their emotions, dealing with the failures, which is very important, because we always give importance to the students who are top ranker holders or who are successful. But we hardly discuss, with the students, I mean the students who fail in the class, that what was the problem, how to cope up with these failures. So this is a very important skill which needs to be taught, to the students, regarding their failures, how to accept the failures, how to accept the negativity of life, how to again, stand up and fight for culture, productivity skills. So these things are very, very, the skills are important for workplace, not only workplace, but also in life, because that will, time management is another skill, because that will help them to manage their time, and they can achieve their goal. And nowadays, so everywhere target is there, goal setter is there, goal setting is there. So students need to be taught about that. So overall, we can say, that 21st century skills are very, very essential for success in the modern world. Out of the box thinking skill, that is also another important, 21st century skills. They cannot only think what is available, they cannot only do what is there. They have to think in a very different manner, right? Like the which common people or generally we do not think of. So out of the box skill is very important. Analytical skill is also very important. These skills will enable the individuals, and to adapt to this changing circumstances, by effectively using technology, by working well with others, be productive for the company, be productive for the workplace, and they can be successful in careers and personal, lives. Now the point is that what job opportunities are there with the 21st century skills? That is also a big, question, because 21st century skills will certainly give you up with many other job opportunities. Nowadays, it's not that the conventional doctors and engineers are there. Many new jobs have also come into foray, like data analyst is there, artificial intelligence is there, machine learning engineer is there, cyber security analyst is there, and the health industry is booming like anything. So for that, healthcare and informatics specialist is there, digital marketing specialist is there, because as I told you that marketing, like social media has become a very important platform for marketing. So digital marketing specialist job is also there. Renewable energy specialist, because you see, as the world looks for a sustainable energy resource sources, so the demand for professionals who can design, who can develop, and who can manage renewable energy system is also increasing. So renewable energy specialists are in great demand, who work in the fields of solar energy, wind energy, hydroelectric power. So these are simply just few examples. And another new, like career option, very recently I got to know, is that business developer. Okay, so that is another job opportunity, career opportunity, which has come into the foray. Now, apart being all this, I would like to being said all this stuff regarding the 21st century schools, education, vocational training or vocational education, practical education. So these all we have said, but what the education policy is doing. So I'm very happy to say that and share with you that National Education Policy 2020 has given very, very importance to, this 21st century skills and vocational education. Okay, so I would like to note it for you. I mean, inform you regarding this, that beginning, I'm just reading out the National Education Policy, beginning with vocational exposure at early ages in middle and secondary school. Quality vocational education will be integrated smoothly into school and higher education. Every child will learn at least one vocation and is exposed to several more. This would lead to emphasizing the dignity of labor and importance of various vocations involving Indian arts and artisanship. By 2025, at least 50% of learners through the school and higher education system shall have exposure to vocational education for which a clear action plan is there. So that is what National Education Policy says regarding vocational education, and it says that it will be integrated in the educational offerings of all secondary schools in a phased manner. I repeat, in a phased manner over the next decade. It's not that today they are going to start and tomorrow we are going to get the benefits. It's not like that. So the development of vocational capacities will go hand in hand with the development of academic or other capacities. So academics and vocational education will go hand in hand, and to attain that objective, to achieve this objective, secondary schools will have to collaborate with industrial training institutes, polytechnics, local industry, etc. Skill labs will also be set up, and it will be created in the school in a hub and spoke model, which will allow the schools to use this facility. So higher education institution will offer vocational education either on their own, in partnership with industry and other institutions. This is National Education Policy 2020. Now, what recommendations have come up regarding that? As you see, they already said that it is going to integrate all schools and higher educational institutions. And for that, what has been done, right from class 6, one of the vocational education will be introduced, like coding will be introduced, as it is a digital age. So coding will be introduced from class 6 onwards, and I believe many schools have started with that from now. On top of that, from class 6, internship will be given on vocational jobs. And for that, National Education Policy suggests that there will be 10 days of bagless period. That means no bags will be allowed to school for 10 days to experience job like carpentry, welding, etc. So that they can go for learning those carpentry, say maybe woodwork, and sometimes students can learn from like they can go for handloom textile mills also. They can learn from the local artisans, they can learn from the local all the workers who are there, who are into vocational work, they're doing this kind of job. So that will prepare the students for vocational education. So earlier, in the previous education policies, more importance was given to academics, and vocational education was always treated as a cousin. But now, vocational education will be equally important for academic subjects. So, Ministry of Organization is organizing Shikshak Parva. They organize Shikshak Parva so that the themes like reimagining the vocational education and skill building can be done. Again, to emphasize and to support this system, there will be no difference in hard separation between humanities, science, and commerce. Students can choose any subjects they want to, and integrating this vocational education will certainly help the students. And lok vidya is also will be introduced gradually at various levels. And as I told you, that the students will not consider vocational subjects as be as unimportant subject. It's not that they will look, they'll just neglect this subject. That can be their one of the main subjects. So that is what all about vocational education in National Education Policy. And those skill based activities will start from preschool to grade 12, and for that the curriculum is will be changing. And here skill workshops will be also conducted, and the students will also be given internship training that will be given. They'll be allowed to visit communities and industries, and schools will also collaborate with the industries and other local factories, whatever is available in that particular locality. And spoke model will also be introduced. So all these will certainly develop our students that skills which are required to pursue their career in future, and they will be well prepared for their future through education. And obviously with the national education policy, supporting this system of education, and the next generation we will see, or maybe upcoming students will certainly be prepared with this vocational training or vocational in their vocation with this practical learning. And as I told you, that hands on experience will also be there. So, with that, I would like to conclude. My views, whatever I was asked to share with you. Thank you, Projexel Foundation, for giving me this opportunity to share my views with the viewers who are there in this show. So thank you once again, ma'am. Thank you very much. I'm honored and obliged.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us a valuable time. Over to Swapnil. Swapnil, any issue?
So, ma'am, I'm audible?
Yes, audible.
Yeah. So, thank you so much, Mosami, ma'am. It was a great learning from your side, and totally, I'm not believing that that kind of education system we can implement too, right? And the new education policy also you can talk about is also very good for our nation too, right? And you totally discuss the main points, right? Some points I not discuss, but you are on the right track. Means you discuss very good points, right? Main points of this whole session is that we can grow in our life by implementing this education system that you already talked in this webinar, right? And for everyone's information, the Mosami ma'am is an educationist and she is a motivational speaker, right? So these things I cannot talk in while inviting the ma'am because I know some people are here to listen some things, right? And ma'am is totally a great motivational speaker, right? And you get one of the great knowledge from this webinar, right? So once again, thank you so much, ma'am, for your tremendous speech, and thank you so much, Seema ma'am, for arranging this webinar, right? And thank you so much, everyone, for watching this webinar, right? And thank you so much. And the webinar is ended. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.